We can rebuild it. We have the technology. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Now recently I 5-0'd with actual factual smokestack in my deck, multiple copies of it, but it was perhaps not salient to my winning. I believe I 5-0'd only dropping a single game over the course of the league, and I did so in impressive fashion. It was a good video. But at the end of that video, I said something like, yeah, I'm pretty sure we can change like 12 or 15 cards in this deck and make the deck better. And that is what I am attempting to do today. So this is my attempt at an actual factual stacks deck for the current metagame. And I've done kind of some interesting things here that weren't in the previous version. Number one, I've added in Urza's Tower Planar Nexus. This is not because I am expecting to have this every single game. We are not the full Urza mana base. We are much heavier on this whole like Wasteland, Blast Zone, Ghost Quarter value package with Crucible of Worlds. But I want more ways to play Trinisphere and Karn early. And having some times where I randomly line up Urza's Tower and Planar Nexus to do that without life loss is kind of cool. And in a very non-traditional move, I have also added Simian Spirit Guide into this deck, because getting a lock piece down ASAP really matters in this 50% combo metagame that we are living in. So Ancient Tomb and City of Traders get us to all of this stuff on turn 1. If we have one of those and Grim Monolith, that gets us to Trinisphere or Crucible immediately as well. And the mana that Planar Nexus and Urza's Tower represents in the late game can allow us to play Karn and then immediately do something like Mycosynth or Ensnaring Bridge or whatever it is that we need. The sideboard package has been tightened up a bit, and you'll see that there's an entire playset of Disruptor Flute brought in. Once we know what we need to name for the matchup, it's perfectly reasonable to board these in, and this can be a catch-all card if something like Thorn of Amethyst or Chalice of the Void isn't going to be particularly great in a matchup. We have a few more big mana plays in the deck now that we have Planar Nexus and Urza's Tower that can allow us to answer a board of either go wide creatures or a singular problematic permanent. So, we're going to go fast today, which feels like an oxymoron since we are playing Ensnaring Bridge, like prison stacks. And folks, if you need anything for this, please consider getting it from my sponsor, TOAmagic.com. And when you do, use promo code ThrabenU to save yourself a little bit on your order. You know, for if you don't own an Extinguisher Battleship already. Spoilers, I've got that one. All right, let's battle. All right, opening hand is totally fine here. There is a decision to be made about whether or not I just jam Thorn of Amethyst immediately on turn 1. It's a little weird. I'd like this Crucible in play, which I can do on turn 2, and then look at like Thorn stuff. But we live in a pretty fucked up metagame right now. So I'm just gonna do this, and my opponent will just like lead on fucking Ocelot Pride for some reason. You can't make that shit up. All right. We're going to lose a land here, which is not like the biggest deal in the world. This will be a Chalice of the Void on 1, which will stop Ocelot Pride style cards from getting into play. Really have drawn the wrong side of the deck for this particular matchup. There's Voice of Victory. This represents a lot of damage quickly. I'm going to need to empty my hand. Does that do anything good? Not really. My opponent's stuff, it's just going to fly. I think I need persistent mana here. My opponent has a Wasteland of their own. There's Amped Raptor. There's Static Prison, which is not usable because of Chalice of the Void. Note that I fully believe that my opponent should Wasteland me. It's normally a very bad play to Wasteland an open Wasteland, because it means that your opponent can use that Wasteland. But my opponent just has the win on board if I don't play something stupid. So I fully think they should Wasteland me. and they agree and figure that out. So I will take out Plateau, but this is still a great exchange for my opponent. And my Crucible nonsense is not going to get there. I think I'm going to tap out here. I think my opponent has clearly got it. GG's. My hand is too full for if I draw something like Ensnaring Bridge there. All right. So Thorn of Amethyst is pretty bad. Chalice on 1 is fine. Trinisphere is passable. If I can board these out, I will. That probably means I'm going to be bringing in some number of Disruptor Flutes. So what is Karn tutoring for in this matchup? This is a great one if I have a ton of mana. What is like the median mana card? Walking Ballista? Just do that, ping 2 creatures. I might do something like bam, bam, bam. Do I need a couple of Disruptor Flutes specifically for the Ajani Planeswalker, who is otherwise rather problematic? Maybe I do. Maybe I keep one of those out there and do something that looks like this. Weird looking hand. I probably keep it. Karns kind of get stuck in my hand, making the Ensnaring Bridge bad. Like, turn 1 Chalice is cool. I think I'm going to mulligan this. All right, this is quite good. I think I ignore this card. So turn 1, Chalice on 1. Turn 2, play Planar Nexus, play Crucible. Turn 3, Urza's Tower, Karn. Yeah, that all seems great. Bam. And Chalice. One has Windswept Heath, and that's probably all they are getting to do there. Don't think we are Disruptor Fluting. Bam. Bam. Throw down Crucible. And that represents a decent amount of long-term value, but is not amazing in the short term. Once I find something like a Wasteland, we're talking. Marsh Flats comes down for my opponent, and a Hexing Squelcher. That's actually super annoying, because now my Chalice isn't doing stuff. Planar Nexus. Here's Karn. Karn is going to immediately tutor. Just a few options available. I think I just want Extinguisher Battleship. I have 4 mana already. This is 5/6. Grim Monolith is 7, or it's what I need over 2 turns. All right, there is Ajani. I will have to Disruptor Flute that Planeswalker, unfortunately. Ocelot Pride gets to get pushed through Chalice. That kills my Karn. And I'll take a little bit of damage here. Planar Nexus. Disruptor Flute. Shut off Ajani. Then 2 mana. We let a Grim Monolith hang out until next turn, at which point I do this. And I get to take out their Planeswalker while wiping their board, which seems gross. This is exactly the sort of situation that I put this in the deck for. You can Wasteland Urza's Tower 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it doesn't matter. Nice. What are you waiting to pay the costs on? One has like an X cost or something. Prismatic Ending, 4th Aerlingas. Oh, fuck. Yeah. That's not great. All right, well, that was the answer to my question. What is my opponent waiting to pay for? And now I am dead. What a dramatic reversal there. GG's. That's the most savage meltdown I have seen in quite some time. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I love them. I have over 1,000 deck lists here. And I think the thing that I like the most about them is they're more than just a basic deck builder. If you need information about your next pre-release or where you can get cards, they have that sort of stuff here too. Whether you need to manage your collection or just a couple of decks, Moxfield does it all. So go check them out. All right, my opening hand is sweet. I can potentially Chalice on 1 and Chalice on 0 if I so desire. Volcanic Island, DRC, absolutely. An opponent gets a little bit of value there. I'm going to have a lot of ways to play my first turn. There's like Wasteland them to not let Corey Steelcutter get into play. Grim Monolith as well. I think I'm going to try to Wasteland them and not let Corey Steelcutter get into play. I could also go City Chalice, and then Daze doesn't counter Chalice. I can also just do Chalice 2 different turns in a row. I don't hate that. Like, this is incredible if it resolves. And if it doesn't, I do it again next turn. It does not. But daze specifically means that Quarry Steelcutter can't come down, so that is still fine. Valk comes back. That's just an aggressive use the lightning bolt before it becomes a dead card. And am I at a bridge in sideboard? I am. There's a lot of weird singleton things going on here. Multiple Grim Monoliths. Okay, in that case, let's use one of these to play around daze and do Chalice on one. That's great. Blooded Strand comes down. That's the Quarry Steelcutter I didn't want to see, unfortunately. There's not another spell, so I'll take 3 here. That's not the end of the world. Down to 13. Grim Monoliths are weird. So I think I use one to play around daze again. There's Karn. Karn minus. Say yes, pick up Ensnaring Bridge. Then Karn can die, that's not that big of a deal. I think I just keep my own Wasteland in play to make sure that I can deploy my spells, and then next turn I just play another Grim Monolith Ensnaring Bridge, and it becomes very difficult for my opponent to win. Assuming that there is a Brazen Borrower or Boomerang Basic style card in my opponent's main deck. Sure, this is fine. They will have outs to this. You're just equipping? You can't equip, because I have Karn. You can do a post-combat equip. Ooh, opponent is considering going for face. Alright, they do kill the Karn. I'm not going to try to, like, wasteland them in the middle of combat. If this goes on this creature, the Ensnaring Bridge actually gets better against it. So that is fine. Oh, that's beautiful. So here's land drop. Yeah. Alright, so opponent does not have a main deck Brazen Borrower. GG. So, what do I want to do in terms of sideboarding? The answer could be nothing. I could also board out Thorn of Amethyst. I think I want Karn to be able to find this. I can Disruptor Flute instead of Thorn. Wasteland is just a key player in my opponent's ability to win the game. And I think I'm less concerned about recurring my own Wastelands in this matchup. I think I might play 4 Disruptor Flute, and these frequently go on Wasteland, but sometimes will go on something like Force of Will or Consign or Quarry Steelcutter, depending on what I am most afraid of at the time. This is a hand that really needs more mana. I think if I get Wastelanded, the game just instantly ends. Like, I can do this on Wasteland, but then this is a disappearing land too. I think I will just say no to that. The second one is fine, but unimpressive. Get rid of the disappearing land. I think I want to keep making land drops here. It may just be that once I put Planar Nexus into the deck, another Urza land is just better than City of Traders. Not been impressed by City in a match and a half here. The tune's totally different if we're playing against combo, though, and it helps me turn 1 Chalice, Trinisphere, Disruptor Flute. That's just, like, not the most important stuff here. Don't wasteland me. You've got Ponder. Opponent kept a card on top, and if I'm in their position, I'm digging for the card Wasteland specifically, so either they have one or I'm wrong. I don't know, maybe they needed a land, and a land was good enough. Hard to say without seeing the stuff on the other side of the battlefield. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and go to their turn and then Disruptor Flute. That way, if they were holding open something like a Consign, they have to decide whether or not they want to use it immediately. It is something like a Consign. All right, there's the Wasteland that I was trying to put that Disruptor Flute on. That's clearly the wrong land. It's so crazy if I spike the tower. Holy shit. I don't, but whew. So there's Grim Monolith. Opponent brainstorms. All right. There still could be a counter spell. I don't think I get to play around there still being a counter spell, though. I think I have to play Crucible in an attempt to get Wasteland and play these other things next turn. Like, as much as I want to play Trinisphere because it can really, really mess with my opponent's mana efficiency, I just don't think I get to do it there. Because if I miss the land drop off the top of my deck, it locks the other cards in my hand. I will get cracked for 3, down to 13, and we'll see what my opponent puts together for the remainder of the turn. Fetching, bobbling, and cracking. Opponent will get their redraw at the start of my turn. Right, I did hit another land, which is cool. I can play City and try to do Trinisphere around Daze. Feels like something like Consign is more likely. So I think I am just going to play a card that I don't care about whether or not it resolves. It is Force of Will instead. That's fine. We're whittling down these resources with the hope of eventually sticking an Ensnaring Bridge. Hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Big dammies, price of progress. I am at 7, which effectively means that I am at 4. That's horrifying. I hope my opponent does not have too many copies of those, because damn, that is a way to beat me through Ensnaring Bridge. Alright, that Ponder shuffles. I go to 4. That Karn's a little inconvenient, but hopefully not the end of the world. I think I'm going to take my opponent off of 2 mana, in case there's something like Brazen Borrower that my opponent wants to cast. And then let's try to change phases, let that mana empty, and then I can do Ensnaring Bridge in second main. Around Daze still. Here we go. Alright, that is a Daze. Hey, is the last unknown card another Daze? No, it is not. Now, it is possible that this could be a setup for another Price of Progress, because now I can't Ghost Quarter myself, which is like something that I am aware of is a thing that I might need to do. Okay, very nice. 2 mana. Wasteland. 4 mana for Karn. 1 mana for Expedition Map. I think I'm just going to plus on Karn on nothing. No, I'll plus on Expedition Map. I still have 1 card in hand for like Corey Steelcutter purposes. Or if tokens get into play or something, maybe this is relevant. Alright, cool. So now I can just work on wastelanding my opponent into the Stone Age, and then trivially win with Karn whenever. Hit ya? Uh-huh. Attempt to change phases. Lightning Bolt my face. Doesn't feel good. I can wasteland my opponent again, and probably play like Thorn of Amethyst. Meltdown goes to graveyard. Reasonable. Here's a Manifold Key. Here's a Wasteland. Wasteland a Volk. Untap a Grim Monolith. Karn minus. Say yes. There's a Thorn of Amethyst, which is played around Daze, and that makes it so that I can't eat a Price of Progress. And I hope that I have now stabilized this game at 1 life. I'll take out my opponent's remaining land, and then work towards winning the game with whatever. Yeah! There we go. A good old-fashioned staxing, stabilizing at 1 life. You love to see it. GG's. Called shot. Wasteland is a game winner. Non-basic land, non-basic land, non-basic land. Nice. Alright, well, I don't get to Crucible anymore. Which is fair. Ghost Quarter's not terrible. But now I need some sort of payoff card. Opponent is definitely combo. Oh, but it's passing the turn. Okay, I am going to float this Grim Monolith into play at the cost of taking 2 points of damage. That way I ball out of control even harder. Otherworldly Gaze. Ooh, this is not the combo that I was expecting. Oh, it's not the combo I was expecting twice. I instantly thought that this was going to be Blue Dredge, but it's actually a Reanimator variant. But opponent just simply does not have it. I unfortunately do not have it either. How embarrassing are we getting with our plays? Am I putting a Simian Spirit Guide into play this turn? I don't want to talk about this. Uh, that's an embarrassing play. Those are in the deck to fuel out all of our crazy stacks pieces. I want to just put a card on top. That probably does not bode well for me. It was presumably that brainstorm, so my opponent gets to look at a couple other cards. They don't have anything. Unfortunately, neither do I. I don't think I Ghost Quarter them. I'm going to assume that the cards on top are bad. All right. The mighty Simian Spirit Guide beating down the noble Atraxa deck. That is a careful study. There's so much shit in the graveyard. Does Trinisphere resolve? Watch my ape spirit do a kick flip. Oh, in no capacity do I deserve that win. GG's. So every Karn is Tormod's Crypt. I would like to board in Soul Guide Lantern. Disruptor Flute does stuff, but my opponent has enough different things to name that might not be optimal. I might just want to board that in. I'm going to have to think about that. I don't know that I'm trying to Pithing Needle anything here. If my opponent has Sneak Attack specifically, it does something. I think I'm going to board out Expedition Map as the other thing that I do. I think there's enough varied targets that I am not going... Yes, I am in for this. There's enough varied targets that I am not going for Disruptor Flute. This is not like Doomsday, where I like very explicitly have one thing that I need to stop from happening. Atraxa goes to Yard immediately. We see Flow States as well. Now this is an interesting turn. I think I'm going for 3-ball. Chalice of the Void misses Animate Dead, or other 2-mana ways to bring back creatures. Wasteland, 2 Spirit Guides, 3-ball, baby! And now the hope is... No. Now the hope is that my opponent just does not play Magic this game. Wasteland you. Here's a Ghost Quarter. Alright, opponent does not have more mana. I still need to draw one more land. And this Urza Saga is a disappearing land, so like that is slightly awkward, but my opponent doesn't get to play Magic while Trinisphere is in play. Land. Grim Monolith is not a land. Alright, we continue on slightly awkwardly. And I boarded out my Expedition Map, which would be incredible in this exact incredibly niche spot that I have found myself in. Drew City of Traders, doesn't matter. Excellent. So now I will just get a Manifold Key, and Grim Monolith can take me through the remainder of this game. I think that's true. So, 3 mana, Grim Monolith, do this, untap the Monolith, Monolith, and now I have 6 mana this turn, so I can play Crucible and Ensnaring Bridge at the same time. Seems great. And now I have Crucible Ghost Quarter, and my opponent is just incredibly dead there. Staxing them out good. GG's. Alrighty. Opening hand seems reasonable. Like we are playing against a blue deck of some kind. Is a Tamiyo. So that's going to be on board versus all of this various nonsense that I have going for me. I think I'm going to lead on Chalice. If this resolves, I'm cool with it. If it doesn't, I'm cool with it. If Thorn resolves, I don't get to like follow up with Trinisphere, and that's kind of awkward. Force pitching a Brainstorm. Brainstorm's a valuable card with an onboard Tamiyo. Wasteland's good. That sets me back a little bit. Doesn't really feel like the end of the world, though. I suspect that my opponent gets to accumulate clues for a while, and then I'm just hoping to put them into a situation using these that this stuff resolves and starts taking over the game. That's card number 2 for Tamiyo. Opponent does not have more mana, which means these clues aren't doing anything. I don't want Thorn to resolve. I very, very actively do not want this card to resolve. Here I am casting this card that I do not want to resolve. Daze me! Daze me! Oh shit, Force of Will, that's even better. Fuck yeah. I'm still a genius. Alright, opponent does find their next mana source. You Thoughtseize me, and you get to see a hand of utter nonsense. Yeah, honestly, that's fair. GG. And I think I'm down for this swap. I also can consider bringing in the Soul Guide Lantern to nuke my opponent's graveyard. It's presumably going to matter for some number of Barrowgoyf, Nethergoyf, Murktide, Flow State. I think I'll just call that good. Very, very borderline on this decision. Fuck yeah. This deck's great. In turn 1, Pithing Needle, Wasteland, or Tamiyo. That is Tamiyo. Bam. Bam. Do I name Wasteland or Tamiyo? I think I name Wasteland. Like, as much as I want to name Tamiyo there and not let that slip through the cracks, I just have Trinisphere into Karn coming. And I think Karn shutting off those clues and Trinisphere shutting off. Oh, fuck yeah, we got it. Nice. So go up to a ton of mana immediately. Here is the first 3-ball. Opponent cracks a clue in response. This kind of feels like a must-counter situation. And it was. Opponent now has both of their colors. Grabs a basic, which I think is wrong. I think you're supposed to grab an Underground Sea if I have Pithing Needle Wasteland. Because now there's not a basic in your deck for Ghost Quarter, which I think I showed game 1. Ooh, Petty Theft Pithing Needle. And take out Planar Nexus. Yeah, that's totally reasonable. Oh, that's so good. New Planar Nexus. I think I'm just going to put this into play. So then 1 mana Pithing Needle. I think this one now goes on Tamiyo Seasoned Scholar. And then this Grim Monolith gets used to 3-ball. Alright, 3-ball is in play. Tamiyo can't turn into a creature. And on my turn, I am probably sticking a Karn that gets to shut off remaining clues. Opponent did have another Wasteland. Alright, that's reasonable. That will slow me down by a turn. There's a new city. Opponent can crack a new clue. Send in with Tamiyo, but like I know my Karn resolves 100% of the time. So, bam. Bam. Karn. What do I want to do with this Karn? Don't have a Crucible, which is really what I want. I maybe don't know what I want to do with Karn yet. I think accordingly, I will just plus there and call that good. Like, I can go for coding there, but if my opponent goes land threat, then I need to pick up something like Ensnaring Bridge instead. It's my opponent's 3rd Wasteland. Kaito? Kaito, sure. Yeah, that takes a decent chunk out of Karn. My opponent goes for the emblem. I now Karn minus for bridge, so that Kaito doesn't smack me around. The Wasteland's awkward, because I'm going to get Wastelanded off of this. It's so devastating that I don't have a Crucible in my sideboard right now. There is an alternate timeline where I Karn minus... No, all my Disruptor Flutes are in. That doesn't work either. Ooh. Alright. Karn minus. Say yes. Get bridge. Play bridge. This is more of a game than I would like it to be. Kaito still gets to surveil, but not draw the card. So it's not like Kaito has no text here. I wonder if that's the correct land to go after, because it's so good if I spike Planar Nexus specifically. Alright, Karn pluses on this clue, I think? At some point, I can, like, attack and kill a Kaito. Like, I can turn Ensnaring Bridge into a creature and attack Kaito, so Kaito stops surveilling. Let's resolve this Chalice on 1. I think I will just Karn plus on that clue in case things fall apart here somehow. Alright, that's another land drop, so my opponent gets to cast spells again. They are holding up mana. Oh no, they're just a second main phase hipster. They're going to surveil, and they junk some cards. So my opponent could have a counter spell available. They could have a removal spell available. They also could have nothing. I just have to let this Karn go. Might have to let this Karn go. Hope to resolve another one in a minute. Could get something like Walking Ballista and just cast that for X=2, so Brazen Borrower doesn't get it. Or I can just get something like Mystic Forge, cast it. It's great if it resolves, and if my opponent casts another spell, it means Brazen Borrower isn't getting into play immediately. I don't hate that. So City, Tower, there's Mystic Forge. That is Force of Will. That'll work. Another Wasteland. That's the last one. You're fucking out of those, opponent. I do slightly have to worry about cards getting stuck in my hand. Crucible is amazing. I'm hopefully going to get to resolve that, and then all of my plot problems are instantly over once I hit a land drop exactly once. Yep. I do have lines where I can, like, pitch a Spirit Guide from my hand to make it so that creatures can't attack, which is why I'm playing Spirit Guide and not Lotus Petal. It's like this very specific interaction. Now that my opponent has a creature, the Kaito card draw is online again, which I don't love. Null Rod. Okay. So, bam, bam. I get Crucible. And Trinisphere is in play, so that just happens. And I'll put Planar Nexus into play. And now I have 4 mana guaranteed for the rest of the game. There's no more Wastelands. They have all been used. Brazen Borrower and friends don't get to attack. Opponent can Surveil with Kaito and cast a Flow State. Urza Saga is cool. I think I am just accumulating more mana. So there's Karn. All of these things that have activated abilities aren't doing anything. So I think I'm just going to Karn minus and get a big castable thing with a good ability like Cityscape Leveler. And I have 2 cards in hand, so Brazen Borrower doesn't get to attack still. Kaito can Surveil. There's a Disruptor Flute. That's not a bad draw. This is an on-cast that can take out a Null Rod, unless my opponent has Consign specifically. Could maybe take a turn to set up. Yeah, I think I'm going to take a turn to set up. I think I'm going to go Karn minus. Say yes. Pick up Karn's Silex. Players can't pay life to cast spells. Notable part there. So 3 mana, do this. This shuts off Force of Will as a thing that I care about. Or succeeds in getting Force of Will out of hand, which is fine as well. So that occurs. I don't think I want this ticking up yet. I'll just do another Planar Nexus from Graveyard, and now I can resolve Disruptor Flute and put that on Kaito so my opponent stops getting the Surveil value. Alright. Kaito is shut off. I could also, like, go Consign or Force of Will there. Ooh, opponent's playing something on their own turn. That's a Flow State, which means that I just get to resolve Cityscape Leveler, which feels devastating. Let's go. Good stuff. That is 3-0 and 6-0 in most of the games here, minus the Ocelot Pride player who just missed the memo that I was here to eat combo decks alive. GG. Alright, my opening hand is fine. I could use 1 more mana at some point in about the next 3 draws. Opponent, the Ragavan Enjoyer. No, a Ragavan E-Joyer. Only digital Ragavans. Okay. I mean, that's probably positive for me. I don't yet know whether my opponent is a tempo deck or a show and tell deck. Show and tell deck is the answer. In which case, I can start jamming things like Thorns ASAP. It may just be better to jam Bridge next turn. I guess if my opponent show and tells, I just put in the Bridge. Okay. I've sold myself on that. That's a Force of Will. Cast show and tell. I dare you! Oh, they didn't cast show and tell, friends. They fucked up. They fucked up bad. Now my opponent has 0 lands in play versus the Stax deck with Crucible Lock coming. Yeah, you are gonna have a bad time. You just let me know when you're done. I'm enjoying myself right now. Okay, opponent is continuing to play the game of Magic the Gathering. In which case, let's shut off Sneak Attack so that it has to be show and tell. which I already have covered via Ensnaring Bridge. Okay, there's Planar Nexus as well. Lol, 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 lol. And my stuff just resolves 100% of the time. So there's Crucible. There's Ensnaring Bridge. Are we done? Yeah. Yeah. This deck is sweet. GG. So Karn tutors for Ensnaring Bridge and also some other things that can deal with my opponent's permanents. I think I have to keep Karn Bridge as a thing that I can tutor for, though. I can board in Disruptor Flute. It's a perfectly reasonable tool versus my opponent's stuff. And go down like a map. The key is really good. Might go down a key and a couple of monoliths. This doesn't let me accelerate towards Transparent Bridge as well, but I have more 2-drops that I just want to cast, which is probably okay. I think I needed a couple more keys in this list. How do I ever lose? How do I lose playing this deck? An Ocelot Pride player stole my trophy. Basic Island, pass turn. So, are we feeling Chalice or Thorn? I think I'm feeling Thorn. My opponent didn't cast a 1-drop anyway. It could be that this is about to just eat a Consign. Okay, Spell Pierce. Same deal. Opponent has Valk. Valk sure gets Wastelanded. Getcha. This takes my opponent off of red if they have a Braid style cards that could answer the Chalice. And second main, I do just throw down that Chalice. It is a Consign. Well, I mean, I'm paving the way for Crucible Wasteland, I guess. Opponent brainstorms. I don't get to Wasteland that immediately. Or do I? Oh. And Ponder, sure. Double Island means that it's harder to sneak attack me specifically. Ooh, Tower is cool. So here is a Crucible of Worlds, which represents a Wasteland lock on the non-basics that are coming in the future. So that's in play. It's not overly exciting yet. Okay, yeah. Opponent just does not have it yet. I don't know their exact basic count, but we're probably hitting the limit of their basic lands. Alright, opponent just passes. I am not going to be casting this Ensnaring Bridge. I will fully just be saving that to put in via Show and Tell. Which is like awkward if my opponent sneak attacks me, but they have no red mana showing yet. And if they play out red mana, I start going for it incredibly aggressively. It's Show and Tell. Here's what I'm bringing to class. Ah, you just brought that? Doesn't even seem good. What does that card do? Wasteland you off of red. I do have to make sure I don't have 15 cards in my hand on my opponent's turn, or otherwise the Emrakul can attack. Get Urza Saga going. More for the tutoring than anything else. Yeah. There are cards that could theoretically take an Ensnaring Bridge out of play. Hopefully. My opponent does not have them. Did I board out Map? Damn it, this is the second time I've boarded out Map, and it's like a card that I want. Ancient Tomb and a Stock Up. Yep. Specifically, it could tutor for Ghost Quarter. And Ghost Quartering my opponent off of those islands is kind of big game. I'll take them off the Ancient Tomb this turn. Like, that's whatever. Make a friend. Pithing Needle on Sneak Attack just in case. Pithing Needle on Scalding Tarn? Pithing Needle on Scalding Tarn is kind of sweet. It should probably still just be Sneak Attack. I don't know, maybe it's Scalding Tarn because my opponent could have something red like Meltdown. I can also tap down the Emrakul and get a surprising amount of damage in. I have 5 cards in hand right now. Sure. Oh, but this added to my artifact count. That was wrong. That was fully just wrong. In for 5. Hopefully that decision does not cost me a game here. City of Traders. That is Wasteland bait. That's what that is. So play Wasteland. Wasteland you. Yeah, you can float mana. We can change phases. Cool. 6 cards in hand. So these constructs are able to attack. And opponent can try to dig for something that gets through Ensnaring Bridge. Lotus Petal? That is red mana. Like, that's relatively relevant. There's an Urza's Saga. Next turn, I will have 3 6/6s, and I can attack in for lethal. Another Lotus Petal. All right. Hopefully, this is just lethal. So, equip token, 3, 6, 7, 8 cards in hand, so all of these do get to crash in. There is nothing like playing your own Ensnaring Bridge to stop the 15/15 and then just attack with your giant Urza Saga construct tokens through them anyway. That is a 4-1 finish. GG's. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Overall thoughts on the deck list. This is way better than the last list. I know the last list was a 5-0 and this was a 4-1, but we beat everything that we expected to beat. The Ocelot Pride creature deck is going to naturally be good against my like Thorn of Amethyst Trinisphere deck, and the Hexing Squelcher interaction versus Chalice of the Void was also not favorable for us. But man, we bodied the blue stuff and the combo stuff today, and it wasn't particularly close. There still might be some room for finessing here. I probably want 1 or 2 more Manifold Keys. I conceptually like the Simian Spirit Guides, though, which is, I think there's slot competition there. It could also be that I don't Grim Monolith. I take Grim Monolith out of the deck, I play another Simian Spirit Guide, I free open a couple more main board slots for other things. Like, very, very specifically, when I know that my opponents are going to largely be on combo, and decks that Ensnaring Bridge is good against, for, like, the, like, Delver-style decks, this is pretty darn good. This might be something that I try to refine a little bit more over the next couple of weeks as we, like, go up to the next B&R window, where I expect that we're going to see some things change. If you like Mud and Stax style gameplay, this is incredibly good. Play this. There is the question to be asked, like, is this better than just doing one ring stuff? In a combo heavy metagame, the answer might just be like, this is fully better. Another thing that I could do to this deck is put a couple Eldrazi into it, a couple Thought-Knot Seers, a couple Glaring Fleshrakers, not like playsets or anything, but just have that as another tool. His Grim Monolith today was largely Simian Spirit Guide without extra Manifold Keys. I didn't want to go too crazy on keys, because I'm not also untapping the One Ring with it. Glaring Fleshraker is also another win condition 3 Ensnaring Bridge. Yeah, I'm still cooking on this one. Pim, I hope you enjoyed that, as I certainly did. Folks, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and if you have any decks that you want to see on the channel, the donation deck list queue is always open for all of your nonsense. I'm going to go run some errands, then maybe do some gym time, take a shower, get cleaned up, because I did everyone dirty this league. All right, see ya.